session. First of all, about from my obeisances to His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj, who is very kindly present here. Thank you, Maharaj. I'm also happy that one of the people who is planting back, see him in person as well. With a good month alone. And all my dear friends, long time ago, and more recent friends. My obeisances, my spiritual master, His Holiness Maharaj, who has been kind enough to bless me in so many ways, and I aspire to serve some small way. Today we are reading about Canto 3, Chapter 14, text number 20. 3, 14, 20. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yama Shritendriya Durjaya Nitarashrame Vayam Jaye Mahelabi Dasyun Durga Yama Shritendriya Yama
Dasyun Durga Patiryatha Yamasrikendriya Rati Yujaya Nitarasramaye Ayam Jaye Mahilavi Dasyun Durga Patiryatha.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Chandravarti Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. As a fort commander very easily conquers invading plunderers, by taking shelter of a wife, one can conquer the senses, which are unconquerable in the other social orders. Purport. Of the four orders of human society, the student or brahmachari order, the householder or grihastha order, the retired or vanaprastha order, and the renounced or sannyasi order. The householder is on the safe side. The bodily senses are considered plunderers of the fort of the body. The wife is supposed to be the commander of the fort, and therefore whenever there is an attack on the body by the senses, it is the wife who protects the body from being smashed. The sex demand is inevitable for everyone, but one who has a fixed wife is saved from the onslaught of his sense enemies. A man who possesses a good wife does not create a disturbance in society by drugging virgin girls. Without a fixed wife, a man becomes a debauchee of the first order and is a nuisance in society. Unless he is a trained brahmachari, vanaprastha or sannyasi. Unless there is a rigid and systematic training of the brahmachari by the expert spiritual master, and unless the student is obedient, it is sure that the so-called brahmachari will fall prey to the attack of sex. There are so many instances of fall down, even for great yogis like Vishwamitra. The grihastha is saved, however, because of his faithful wife. Such life is the cause of material bondage, and therefore it is prohibited in 3 ashramas and is allowed only in the grihastha ashrama. The grihastha is responsible for producing first quality brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis. Om Gyananandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshram Videmina Tasmai Shri. I was born in the darkest of ignorance. My spiritual master kindly opened my darkened eyes and filled my heart with spiritual knowledge. I offer my obeisances unto his lotus feet. I further offer my obeisances unto all of you assembled Vaishnavas and seek your kind blessings and permission that I may reach your Bhagavatam in your presence. So, this is a very interesting analogy that's been given here. Commander of the fort. So, last Sunday, if you were here last Sunday, we discussed that very deeply meaningful Bhagavatam truth. The wife is the better half. If you remember that, if you were there last Sunday. We explored that how the wife is not an addition to the man, but its completion. She is the Shri Shakti, the auspiciousness that softens his sharpness, steadies his mind, and gives grace to his actions. We noted that when a man respects and uplifts his wife, the relationship becomes a spiritual partnership. And we concluded that a man without a noble wife is like a fort without a commander, vulnerable and incomplete. So that was the emotional foundation. Today, the Bhagavatam moves from sentiment to strategy, from poetry to survival. See the analogy here? A fort commander very easily conquers invading plunderers by taking shelter of a wife who can conquer the senses, which are unconquerable in the social orders. Here, notice the wording now, okay? The visualization that comes with analogies in the Bhagavatam is very instructive and very powerful for us to understand what is going on, what is the key message being given. So here, the wife is not merely the gentle better half. You get another view. She's a commander. Commander gives commands. The home is a fort. And our senses that are uncontrolled, they are plunderers. Our own senses. Our own senses are plundering us, our fort. And the world is full of invasions, constantly trying to invade us. The distractions in the external world are partnering with our senses to plunder the fort of our being. So if last week we established the wife's dignity, this week establishes her power. You have to respect, recognize, and appreciate this power. That is, the whole system is engineered and orchestrated by the Supreme Lord Himself. So, you see the word here? Fort. The fort is called Durga. Now, in ancient India, the fort was not just a stone structure. The fort represented safety. It represented stability. It represented survival. You got to imagine, you got to understand in those days, survival depended on where you situate yourself. Otherwise, the thunder is everywhere. It was very difficult. The commander of the fort was responsible for vigilance, for spotting danger before it arrived. Understand the analogy, it's a very thorough analogy. The commander was responsible for strengthening the gates of the fort, for disciplining the soldiers, for keeping the treasury protected. So who's making this, who's giving this analogy? This verse is what Brahma actually. What Brahma is saying. So Brahma's metaphor is brilliant. The body is the fort. The walls of the skin, the boundaries of the senses, and the treasury is what? The treasury is our intelligence. The treasury is our character. It's our dharma. That's what we need to protect in the fort. What's the point of a fort if nothing to protect? Now, the senses are also the plunderers, right? Because even though they're part of the body is basically made up of senses. But still, if the senses are not oriented properly, they will ruin us. Senses are never neutral. It's something for us to keep in mind. They're constantly trying to break in or they're trying to break out. The senses whisper temptations. The senses demand pleasure. The senses storm the fort. Of what? They want to corrupt the dharma, the character. You're trying to protect the treasure and throw it. The wife is the commander of the fort. She keeps the man, the husband, grounded. She keeps the household peaceful at all costs. And she redirects the husband's mind to dharma constantly. What does she notice? She notices the husband's tendencies. She notices his moods, his attachments, his blind spots. You know what the blind spot means? You don't know what you're missing. Like you think you're perfect in certain thing. And you don't realize that you have some issues. She notices those. She helps. Blind spots. And she notices subtle weaknesses long before anybody else does. And helps resolve them. So that other people don't have to notice them. The commander is incredibly valuable. It is a psychological truth. A good wife stabilizes a man in a way that no friend can do. In a way that no boss, no mentor, and sometimes not even scripture can do. Because she sees him without the masks. Because we wear masks every day, we're very good at it. Before we go out of the door, we put on a couple of masks, swap them out. But she knows when there's no mask on you. And that's actually a very valuable thing. I'm not making this up. This is my personal realization because I'm very blessed with an incredible wife who knows Dharma very well. So I'm very grateful. Just taking this opportunity, this verse I didn't pick, it was given to me. It's an opportunity for me to be appreciative and express my gratitude. Now here, Prabhupada's purport says something very bold. He says the senses are so powerful that even sadhus can fall down without strict discipline. He gives some example. Vishwamitra Muni, he was a giant among yogis. His yogic siddhis, his prowess was unparalleled. He fell down due to lack of protection. Countless renunciants, sadhus in Kali Yuga. Prabhupada is saying, if the training is weak, you'll struggle. The Prabhupada makes the point that brahmacharis, without strict guidance, will have a problem. If the training is loose, then the senses win, the plunderers win. Vanaprasthas very easily can drift into a mode of comfort. And that comfort makes us attached again. At this point, you would think we're getting detached. But remember, when you live in the comfort zone, attachment is the next door neighbor of comfort zone. We have to always be moving toward Krishna, just beyond the comfort zone. It's like discomfort. The longer we stay in the comfort zone, the more chances of us are for weakening. And of course, sannyasis have a great risk as well. Because, and that's what Prabhupada explains. And the risk is because there's subtle dangers. Because we get reputation, honor, and so on. So all these lists are there, Prabhupada said. All three ashrams need extra strong training. So he says, what is the safest of all in this purport? What did he say? Not brahmacharya, not sannyas, not vanaprastha. Brahma himself says, grihastha life is safest. Provided the husband honors and shelters his wife. This is revolutionary. And it's revolutionary because, sometimes there's a time in a movement where if someone got married early on, it was considered, you've fallen into Maya. You should have stayed brahmachari and so on. There's a time, not anymore. I'm talking old history. And so, when we actually read, we see that this revolution is safe. This is Grahastha. Now, many people think that marriage is a problem, isn't it? Like they make jokes about marriage. You're going to get married, and everything's going to be so bad going forward, and you don't know. They make jokes about kind of weird things. It's fun to make jokes. It's okay. It's okay. But marriage is not the problem. Actually, marriage, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, when done right, when done properly, is not just the problem, it's the solution to the problem. Why? Because there's regulation. Without fixed wife, a man becomes a danger to himself and to society, especially if he's not trained properly like a brahmachari. He wanders, he seeks, he steals, he chases illusion. A faithful wife anchors the man. She protects him from the wandering senses. Another point is that the wife, in a sense, Krishna has given women a sharper intuitive sense than men. We can sense things like that. We have to respect and appreciate that. A wife can sense disturbances. She can sense frustrations. She can sense imbalances early on. It's a fact. So the good wife helps the husband talk, helps him reflect, helps him adjust. She gives him what is known as emotional intelligence. Sometimes she gives him what's known as the sauce. You know what sauce? A little bit of pili-pili. It's needed every now and then. Just let it out. It's okay, What is any meal without proper pili-pili? Sounds spicy. So every now and then the wife has to give the sauce. It's okay. It's normal. But the goal of the wife is, the properly trained wife, is to keep the man on track of his dharma, protect him. That's what it's about, fortress. We're exploring just this one verse today. Prabhupada says clearly, a married man with a faithful wife does not become a nuisance to society. It doesn't corrupt others, doesn't disturb social stability. And another thing that happens in the Grihastha ashram, it actually forces the members to become more mature and responsible. Some of us don't want to grow up, but it forces us to grow up. Some of us grow up faster than others, that's nice. The Grihastha ashram is a framework that pretty much ensures that you can step into being more understanding. Things like children, duties, finances, service, they make someone grow up. And occasionally the wife will say, okay, grow up. She said, grow up, then we have to grow up. In other words, Grihastha ashram is not for pleasure. It is for development of character. The wife is a commander that keeps the fort from collapsing. Now, this verse speaks to the universal truth. It's an ancient verse. This book was written 5,000 years ago. But it applies even today in modern cities like Nairobi, modern times like 2025, 2026. no matter where you live in. What are these lessons that we can learn for a modern marriage? Here, Brahma does not say the wife take shelter of the husband. Please look at the verse. What does he say? He says, Yam Ashritya. Yam Ashritya, opening two words. Yam Ashritya means by taking shelter of her. The husband's taking shelter of the wife. I thought it's always the other way around. It's always. No. There are certain contexts where the husband has to take shelter of the wife. I'm not making this up because I came from America and they're very modern over there. No, it's right here in the Bible. Yamash. But what does it mean? How do you apply this? This means respecting the wife, trusting her, listening to her insight, valuing her intuition, and providing her a sense of security. That's the man's duty. Giving her security. That's how you show respect. Protecting her. And not neglecting and not overpowering or dominating her unnecessary. It's not necessary to exercise her ego in that way. It's not necessary. Just be partners. Last week we talked about how it's a partnership. Now we're talking about how he's taking shelter of her. It's quite revolutionary. And yet it's ancient. It's glorious. And who's speaking this? Lord Brahma, the architect of the universe, who's been instructed by the Lord. What things work, what things doesn't work. He knows everything. His four heads. So, he's giving us these clues. Now, what is the duty of the wife? The wife has to step into the role. She has to embrace her role as the commander of the fort in the proper way. This means what? In the modern world. Understanding standards and holding high standards. Remember, we're not just glorifying married life for the sake of married life and you do whatever you want. No, there are standards. She has to hold the high standards. She herself has to be spiritually steady and spiritually progressive. Remember, you all have to work hard. Nobody's going to do your hard work for you. You've been given certain roles, but in that role, you have to do your own hard work too to become stronger in Krishna consciousness. Being spiritually steady. The wife has to guide him with love and firmness. Actually, Srila Prabhupada gave us many clues like that. He was very firm and also very soft. How is it possible? When it was time to be firm, he was firm while soft. When time to be soft, he maintained the firmness to not get into mush. So he was firm and soft. Soft and firm. If you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. The wife's role is to do that. Provide the love, loving care with the firmness. The firmness creates a sense of support. So you don't come off the rails and come off the rails of dharma to your duty. The firmness is required. The wife's role is also to not tolerate adharma. There's no place for this nonsense in my house, she would say. That's a good wife. Because when we set those standards, it brings the husband in line, brings our children in line, particularly for raising children. That framework is very, very important. Dharmic structure. Another important part of the wife's role is to protect the family culture. How do you protect the family culture? Understand that culture is for imbuing life with Krishna consciousness. And so, what is culture? Culture are external things, like what we eat, what music is playing in the house. That's culture. What time we wake up in the morning. of it, it's culture. When you take a shower, that's part of culture. What you wear, what words are allowed to be spoken, what words are not allowed to be spoken. That's culture. How you show with your body different forms of respect, bowing down and so on. This is culture. What tone of voice to use, that's culture. Culture has so many external aspects to it, but they connect with the internal spirit. Every aspect of our external life has to align with the goals of our internal spiritual values. So, the wife's role is to protect the family culture. Hey, that word you don't speak in this house. It's culture, protection. Nurturing, not just telling what you cannot do, but giving training on what you should do. Giving nourishment, the nectar of Krishna consciousness in various ways. Giving wisdom, giving guidance, nurturing while setting boundaries. So you can see how many roles, or how many things the wife has to do in her role as the commander of the fort. Commander, it's not a simple job. Huh? Many things, the job description is very long. We just list this on. Jai Shri Shri Dharmami Vihari Ki Jai, Sita Hanuman Ki Jai, Shri Gauranga Ki Jai. So we're still talking about modern application. Please try to visualize these things. If you are not yet married, maybe someday you may get married, keep these things in mind. If you're already married, try to see if you can improve in these various ways. Remember, this is ideal. Very few of us are following the ideas. Don't be discouraged. I'm not like this. No, learn from it, be inspired by it. Try to implement it. And if you're never going to get married, it's also okay. You can learn and give guidance to others who might be getting married. So this is useful for everybody, this discussion. The Bhagavatam, no verse in the Bhagavatam is irrelevant for a particular group. Every verse is relevant to everybody. No verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam is separate from Krishna. No verse is separate from Krishna consciousness. And no verse in the Bhagavatam is guiding us to selfish religiosity. This selfish religiosity has been completely kicked out. Completely thoroughly loose. Every verse of the Bhagavatam is a clue or a direct light on Krishna, connecting with Krishna. So is this. Now marriage is spiritual teamwork. There is no competition, no superior or inferior. Only two hands holding one steering wheel in the car of a family, giving direction. Husband, wife. When the Grihastha unit, the ashram, is healthy, then society is healthy, naturally. When each cell of the body is healthy, the whole body is healthy. Prabhupada repeatedly said that Grihastha ashram is actually the foundation of our movement. The foundation is unstable, everything else collapses. There is an old South Indian story, simple one. A king visited his minister's house unexpectedly. The minister, who was normally calm and brilliant, he appeared unusually stable, peaceful, and intelligent. Even in his house. And the king asked him, "My dear minister, what is the secret of your unshakable strength?" And the minister walked in and he called his wife. "My dear wife, please come." And he says, "Your Majesty, this here is the commander of my fort. She watches the gates of my senses. She keeps me from wandering. She keeps me from arrogance." from indulgence, from foolishness. Whatever steadiness you see in me is coming from her. And the king replied, my dear minister, I am paying you from my treasury, but I see that you are actually richer than I am. So this is precisely the spirit of Brahma's verse. Now let's bring this home for devotees. Practical application for devotee husbands, devotee households, for husbands in particular. Please note, do not neglect your wife emotionally. Important. Try to understand. To understand her. Sometimes I'm seeing husbands looking at each other and wife. Yes. This is the time you look at each other. This is a good way to judge. Treat her as a commander, not a dependent. Share decisions. Honor her intuition, we talked about that. And protect her mind with affection. We all need affection. It's the oxygen. Prabhupada wrote in the purport in the 13th chapter. He said, as for the wife, children, house, family, etc., these are, it is not that one should not have affection for them. He said these are natural objects of affection. Sometimes in the name of detachment, we decide to withdraw affection. It's like saying, okay, I'm going to detach from this, I'm going to cut off your oxygen supply. As a gesture of my detachment. Let the natural affection be there. We're here to take care of each other. So protect the mind with affection. Another point is offer gratitude regularly. Not just assume, yeah, she knows I'm thankful. Why do you keep telling her every time? And we should respect her needs and desires too. If she says, the bulb is broken, you've got to fix it. You don't shout at her and say, look, when I say I'm going to fix the bulb, I'm going to fix it. You don't have to remind me every 6 months. It's just once in 6 months. You should be a little bit nicer. Protect affection. Protect the mind. Protect the relationship. But offer gratitude regularly. Find a way to say, I'm really thankful for what you told me that time. It really helped me. I'm grateful I was going to do something really awful and you gave me advice not to do it. I'm acknowledging that what you told me was actually very good for me. Acknowledge. That's all. You don't need to do much more than that. Gratitude will win so many miles. It's very important. One of the qualities of Krishna in the nectar of devotion is many qualities listed, right? 64 qualities. One of them is Kritagya. Kritagya means grateful. Krishna is grateful. If Krishna regularly expresses gratitude, he's giving us clues how we can also be happy. Gratitude to Krishna, gratitude to devotees, gratitude to your partner. It's important to verbalize it. Don't be stingy with the words. Another point is being transparent and honest. Don't hide anything. Be clear in your communications. If you're not good at it, try to learn. The ways you can learn, you can read about it. How to be better at communication. That's a whole different discussion. But learn about better communication. A lot of the times, relationships become tough and tense. It's because we fail to communicate clearly. Don't assume that the person understood what I said or understood what I didn't even say. Just say, be clear. And this is the most important. Remember, we are on a spiritual journey toward Krishna. Make this a shared spiritual journey. Doing something Krishna conscious is an opportunity to bring your spouse into it. Bring them. Conversely, if you have a relationship with the spouse, right, bring Krishna into that relationship. Try to find ways to bring Krishna into the relationship. So make the spiritual progress a shared journey. This is for husbands, okay? for husbands. They can only hold so much. For wives, be the moral compass of the home. This is your role as a fortress commander. The moral compass of your home. In other words, you know what to do, what not to do. You know what to help, what not to help. Sometimes gently, sometimes firmly, sometimes strictly, sometimes leniently, but move toward the higher nature. Remember, we all have higher nature and lower nature. If you get angry and upset, it's natural. It is natural to get angry. But that is lower nature. Just because something is natural doesn't mean we should do it. Is it? Sometimes you see this food, all natural food product. But there are also poisonous plants out there. You can't live with that. That's also natural. Can't say it's all natural. No. Some things you're not meant to use. It's because it's natural. Also another point. The health of a relationship, and this applies to every relationship, within friends, between teacher and student, between husband and wife, between brother sister, brother brother. The relationship quality is judged by how much good you bring out in the other person. If you bring out the best in a person, you know the relationship is healthy. How does that work? See, if I'm in a relationship with somebody, I want to impress that someone by bringing forth all my good qualities and making them strong. Because I want to do that for you, I want to be there for you for that. And you see that happening. When you try to impress someone, you genuinely, sincerely want to be better. Isn't it? You find the best of yourself coming out. That's a mark of a good relationship. Conversely, if it's a bitter relationship that is saturated with selfishness, it brings out the worst in us. It brings out words that we didn't know were in our vocabulary. It brings out emotions that are so intense and angry, we didn't know we were capable of. Why? That relationship poured it out. So relationships can bring out different humors in us. So the mark of a relationship is, what can I do to bring out the best in my partner? Try to be there and appreciate that. Think deeply about this, please. Bring out the best in each other, and it will be an upward spiral, a virtuous circle going toward Krishna. So set high standards. So we said, be the moral compass. Keep the spiritual atmosphere strong. Encourage your husband without belittling him. Try not to do that. And same with the husband also, don't belittle your wife. Set high standards with kindness. Kindness is important. Sometimes too much strictness and too much intensity also has a reverse effect. So be kind. Now, it's important to protect the house from gossip. Gossip is very toxic to our communities. From temptation and from worldly excess. This is too much. Let's point down here. Yes, comforts are important, but there's also such thing as excessive. Don't be excessive. That'll vary from person to person, but you can figure out what that is. If it's just a bit too much, you feel it. Be firm, but not harsh. Be patient, but not passive. You understand the difference? Patience means, okay, now we've tried something, we watch it with diligence. Passive means, okay, let it go. Don't even think about it, forget about it. That's passive. Don't do that, that's negligence. They both look the same because they're not actually doing something. But patience means engage intelligence and diligence. So be patient, but not passive. Are we together? Yes. For both, together. Read together. Pray together. Serve together. Laugh together. And this is very important. Forgive quickly. Don't hold on too long. Even if you're upset, forgive quickly. Celebrate Krishna and Krishna-centered festivals with joy together. When children see this, they will never want to leave Krishna. Krishna Utsav. You know, we have Janmashtami Mahotsav, Mahautsav. You know what Utsav means? You know what Utsav means? Utsav means? Anyone? Festival, right? You know what Uttama means? Highest. Or above. Above darkness. Tama means darkness. Uttama means above darkness and full of light. Sav means sadness and depression. This word is full of sadness and depression. He'll give you that without even asking for it. Utsava means it takes you above sadness and depression. That's why in a festival, even if you're down, you can't feel depressed very long. There's so many colors, everyone's like, hey go. How can you be sad when everybody comes, hey go. And then I see him like, no one can be sad when Damga Prabhu is smiling at us. That's called Utsava. So we have so many Utsavas in the year. Do it together as a family. It will pull you out of the cycle of depression and sadness. Keep the home clean and sattvic. Sometimes I get, not sometimes, pretty much every day I get the sauce. My wife, she's still here. She's hiding. So she keeps a bottle of Tabasco sauce. It's not a real bottle, she just gives me the sauce. Keep it, she's very clean, super like clean, organized. Sometimes I don't do so much. Not as much, but I'm learning still. Keep the home clean and sattvic as much as possible. It's very nice. This way, what happens? A lot of positive energies in the house. Negative energies get emotional. Feed each other prasad. This is one of the 6 extremes of love between people, right? Giving and receiving prasad. And support each other's dharma. Remember, husband has dharma, wife has dharma, Stri dharma, Purush dharma. Support the dharma. Because dharma is reposed in taking us toward Krishna. So then such a home becomes a solid fortress like this, where the senses are tamed and the heart is peaceful and the soul is strong and blazing in Krishna consciousness. And you serve as an example to other families, other devotees, your own children, and the friends of your children, and the parents of the friends of your children. So what you end up doing for yourself as a unit in a family will have a domino effect in a very positive way in society. So I want to conclude. Lord Brahma's words in this verse, they are timely, they are wise, they are compassionate. He does not glorify marriage as an escape from spiritual responsibilities. He glorifies marriage as the safest path towards spiritual life, provided the husband honors the wife and the wife protects the home and honors the husband. You have to do a part. So what did we learn? Last week, we learned the wife is the better half. This week, we learned the wife is the commander of the fort. And marriage is a spiritual defense system designed by God Himself. So in every culture we have marriage. Every culture, any part of the world, marriage is there. God has given it. If you adopt this attitude, our homes will not become places of irritation. They will become places of healing of the heart. Our marriages will not be a drag or a burden. They will be fortresses that are fragrant with exchanges of genuine care and affection. And our spiritual progress will not be disrupted, it will be accelerated manyfold. So let's take inspiration from Lord Brahma's analogy and honor the sacred role that Grihastha life can play in shaping our character. What role it plays in controlling our senses and strengthening our devotion. So with this, let's meditate and chant together, and let's pray to the Lord that the message of this verse in Madana-gopāla becomes deeply rooted in our heart in such a way that it reflects in our actions. Let's chant together one time. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go in the print over. I think Lavanda was go in the print over. And then Lavanda.
His grace, Madana-gopāla Prabhu ki. Prabhu, thank you very much for your balance. I saw you were not going one side or the other. But in Vedic teaching, it always shows that the man takes the lead. So how do you balance that old, you can say, system in today's modern generation? Because everyone is you said equality, and everyone has their own roles. But according to the Vedic system, it is known that the man really takes the lead in the house. So how do you balance both?
Yes, very good. So you can see this verse is not outside the Vedic system. This verse is what balances it brought out. Because we see many times the man takes lead, and the man does take the lead, and there's very good reasons for that. There's a reason why the emphasis, and Prabhupada reflects that a lot in his lectures, it's all there very much so. The man takes the lead, generally speaking, pretty much every time. Because generally we see the body of the man is stronger. So there's more responsibility to make sure there's protection and so on. But even beyond this, the bodily strength difference. Women are stronger in the bodily strength in a different way. The tolerance for pain, etc., is much higher than for men. Otherwise, there's no way, like men's bodies cannot take the kind of pain that women's body can inflict during childbirth and so on. So there is some balance there, but in different ways. See, there's differences. And therefore, man has to take the protective role, and therefore the lead. Another aspect, because of the bodily function of giving birth to children, there is a deeper connection with earth, a deeper connection with matter. With men, don't have that so much. So, at the same time, to balance that out, women have a softer and more sharp intuition. You get a better sense of things that men sometimes don't have. So, all that is reflected in this, in the Vedic system. But, given these differences, it is incumbent upon man generally to take the lead. Because the connection with matter is not so deep in men, they can take the lead on becoming spiritual leaders. Not that women cannot be spiritual leaders. They are leaders spiritually in a different angle, applying their strengths. Men have to apply their strengths. That's why partnership is emphasized. That's why these two verses back to back, it says this partnership. Ardhangini. You remember the last week's verse? It was Ardhangini. Ardhangini means exactly half. You're equally responsible. Same in today. In fact, here it says man takes shelter. So, both are there. You'll find quotes on both sides. But generally speaking, the man will take the lead for the purpose and for the reason I said. Also, there's a psychology around this. I'll explain to you how the psychology works. Men, by nature, are accustomed to be served. Women, by nature, they tend to serve more easily. You'll see that, you'll just see in any culture, it's just the nature, soft nature. There's psychology. Now, when women serve the men, it really softens their heart. The men will do everything in their power to protect and honor and nurse the women. I think I told this story the last time. I don't know. Radha Maharaj told his disciples, you should fan your husband. It's not about the fanning, it's not about the heat, it's about the psychology. It's actually a way of manipulating the psychology of the husband. It's saying, look, I'm here to serve you. The husband, no, stop, come on, it's okay, put down the fan, you don't need a fan. No. The gestures. See, so when you say man is leading, even though a man may not be such a strong natural leader, but if the responsibility of leading comes on him, he becomes stronger. And the support system of the wife, the woman, to lead, is a psychological framework that keeps encouraging the man. And it's a very natural system that is promoted in the Vedic literature. At the same time, to balance that part out, we have verses like this. So to have verses like this to tell you, don't get too carried away by thinking you're the leader. Because what happens, many men, unfortunately, abuse that leader role and think, I can now dominate and use my wife as a doormat and be abusive. You have to follow. It doesn't matter how many times I chastise you. No, that's what this is for. Respect. So there's a lot of balance you'll find in the verses. But generally that's the natural. Thank you, Prabhu, very much. Lamanga Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'm not asking this question because I want to get married. Of course, I'm past that. I can't even think about it. But my question is that you talked about the spiritual culture, the culture of what we eat, what time to wake up, like that. So I'm asking, what is the best culture of, what is the best age, or rather, which age is a limit to get married?
Or which age?
Yeah, especially for men,
Yes.
and also for the ladies.
Sure. Thank you very much. We see generally, Prabhupada has talked about this quite a bit in the purports, in his lectures, and so on. Generally, these numbers are given. He's given the numbers. That up to the age of 25, person stays, the man is trained to be brahmachari. Give or take a few years, maybe 5 years up and down. Okay? So up to the age of about 25, we study, learn as much as possible about spiritual life, about how the world works, how to function in the world, etc., education, without distraction from the opposite gender. So that's the brahmacharya life, very clear, it's fantastic. Absolutely. Then at 25, like you said, this is a cultural framework. At 25, you have a choice, roughly around 25, maybe 30, when it's okay. You have a choice whether you want to continue in your spiritual pursuit and stay brahmachari, or you want to accept the household life and then start a family. That is roughly. Now, the reason why that age is provided is because at some point, you also have to come out of that. You can't remain in that grihastha mode forever. It's not recommended. And the system is structured in such a way, including our psychology, society, and even our bodies. They give us clues. No more, and it's finished now. The shop is closed. Now we go to the next phase of life. These are stages of life. They're very natural. Very natural. The phases of life. So then roughly says about 50 or so, either you take one plus or you take sannyas. Sometimes you recommend it for sannyas, sometimes you recommend it for one, depending on which purpose you're doing. But roughly, so 25 years of married life, you beget children. At that point, it is a good chance that the children will have grown up enough to take care of their wife. So either you take one plus where you're still together, but you're not engaging in the grihastha activities so much. You generally don't even do business and job somewhere. That's not one to one person. Now you put business and job away, give it to the children if it's a business, and then both of you focus, while still staying together, but now 100% focus on celibate life, celibate clean living, and focus on spiritual life, 100% of the time. And sannyas means you don't even stay together anymore. Now you become the father not just of your family, you become father of the whole society. You go door to door and you give Krishna to everybody. And that's sannyas ashram. So to come to your question, which is what age? The reason why these ages are given as a rough framework is because it is in alignment with the natural cycles, what is known as life stages. Psychology and society provide these for us. Now there are exceptions. Sometimes men get married a little bit later, say 40. It's okay. It takes so long to get a degree these days. They settle down. 45 also okay. 50 pushing the limits over there. And at that point you're pushing yourself. But you come to America, you see everything. See, 85-year-old man getting married to a 19-year-old lady. Very common. He has $2 million, but she really loves him for his heart, not for his money. You'll find it. So we laugh about it because it's true. And we laugh about it because it's so different from what nature is intended. So when we follow the Bhagavatam, the frameworks, the general recommendations, give or take 4 or 5 years, okay. be happier, things will be smoother. But main thing is to understand whatever life situation you're in. If it is protective for you to get married in late age, no, it is okay. If it stabilizes you to become more Krishna conscious, then it should be your main priority. What configuration will make me maximum Krishna conscious? I want that. That's it. Then these other things, just. But it is a good question. If you're starting out in life, try to follow the numbers as close as possible. The season of mangoes. There's a time when to harvest the mangoes. There's a time when to plant the wheat and the grain. So there's time for everything. Try to follow the natural season as much as possible. You get a better outcome. Thank you. It's a very good point. Yes, we have one question back there.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for a wonderful class. So, you have talked about respecting others' emotions. You have talked about the modern age. We find sometimes the energy you're giving is not coming back. So, can you talk about it?
Yes. Very good. Very good question. Energy of giving is always come back. It's one-sided. It is important to have balance in life. If it's not balance, then there is a one-sided thing where only one person is giving, the other person is taking. And actually speaking, usually there's some imbalance. Usually one side gives more than the other, as a default. It's almost impossible you have exactly 50-50. Isn't it true? Isn't it true? If you ask the husband, he's saying, no, it's 80-20. I'm giving 80%, she's giving 20%. You ask the wife, yeah, it's 80-20, but I'm the one giving 80. He's giving. We all feel we're giving a lot. But it's important for us to, you see, I talked about it. It's so important to openly and honestly discuss these things. That look, I think this 80-20 is not working out. I can't keep putting this much weight. Can we sit down and talk? Can we readjust the weight a little bit? I'm carrying 90 kilograms and you're carrying 10 kilograms. Okay, I'm a little bit stronger, but you can easily carry 50 kilograms and you're only carrying 10. Take 15-20 from me, please. You know what I'm trying to say emotionally? That I've been emotionally on the receiving end of a little bit of abuse or neglect. Can we talk about it? That's why talking, opening up. Sometimes the other person may not be aware that they're doing this. It's important to talk and set boundaries. Another point is, social interactions, married life relationships are very, very complicated. Because there's so many moving parts, there's so many variables. Both people come from two different backgrounds. They've had different outlooks of the world. And so to balance all those things is very, very, almost impossible. So communications can help a lot, but even that has its limits. When you reach that limit, try to approach elders wherever you are good in mind and they can perhaps help you. See if you can get some guidance for specific problems like that. And then always approach the Supreme Lord for blessings and guidance to help you in your relationship. We can do so many things also to improve. But if you pray to the Lord, pray to Lord Ram, that my Lord, please teach me how I can be an ideal leader and husband and family. Pray to Lord Krishna, my dear Lord, let me be an ideal, understanding person, soft-hearted person, grateful person. Another thing that also works, when you see a little bit of good in somebody, in your partner, don't neglect to amplify it. Like suppose your partner wants to organize things, but they're only able to organize 50%. That's just the limit. If you glorify, say, wow, you're actually so good at organizing. Amazing. What can I do to help you? You're really fantastic. this kind of gradual gratitude can encourage the person so much, they themselves will become 60, 70, 80, 100%. Because you see a little bit of good, amplify it, support it, acknowledge it, be grateful for it. These are different clues that are in this discussion we had today. If you follow all of that, even when there's an imbalance, gradually there can be some balance about it. If you use intelligence, pray to the Lord, and get some guidance from the elders. The fact that you're even talking about this, the fact that you're thinking about it, makes you way ahead of many people. Many people don't even think about it. They just let it happen naturally. And then they wonder what happened. You have to think about it. You have to talk about it. You have to reflect on it. And take cues from the Bhagavatam and the spiritual culture and framework. Then there's a good hope for all of us. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. From Krishna Bhagavatam.